Well, hello, I'm Sharonda, and welcome to Beyonce's side of the internet. And during this video, I'll be talking about two books. Those books will be Surrender to the Moonlight by Julia Anderson and bear with me, please. Just for Tonight by Realsie Adams. So let's get into this thing, shall we? So, happy almost New Year. We're going to start off with Surrender to the Moonlight by Miss Julia Anderson first. And this is a paranormal romance. This is the first book in her series, Georgia Arcana, or Georgia Arcane series. Okay, I am here for it. I enjoyed this book, love the characters on page, but let's get into what's going on with this story. Okay, so this is, like I said, paranormal romance, a shifter romance, and in the story we have Nicole and Jeremiah Taylor, or JT for short. Okay, Nicole has to return home to a small town in Georgia because of the death of her grandmother. Her grandmother was murdered. Okay, and she and her cousins, who have not been home in a very long time, Nicole more so than her other two cousins, Audrey and Vanessa, they have to return home because um, they also have decided to solve their grandma's murder, and also their grandmother has left them property and a brewery business, beer, making beer, liquor, the hard stuff sometimes, but it's mostly beer. Okay, so they return home for that, and in this story she runs into JT because when Nicole first gets home, she is going through one of her grandmother's journals, and she sees JT name all up and down in her grandma's journal. So she trying to figure out, well, who is this man? Okay, and she makes her way to find him. And when she sees him, she's like, "Ooh, okay." Wasn't what I was expecting, but okay. So you know, so when she sees JT, she starts to ask him about her grandmother and how he knows her, how they know each other, things like that. But JT has his own little secrets. JT is a wolf shifter, okay? And he don't be telling everybody his business. He don't really care who you is, okay? Outside of family, and sometimes even family don't know. But JT deals, he is a dealer, okay? He deals in selling and appropriating and selling magical items, and that makes his life, a little bit dangerous, a little bit on the wild side. You know what I mean? So he even though he had dealings with Nicole's grandmother, selling magical items to her, or getting magical items from her to sell, things like that. He put it in Nicole, like, he was more dealing with her on more like the business side, whereas he was selling her, beer in his bar. He runs the local bar, and his family is pretty well known and powerful in that town. And there was kind of like a deal between Nicole's family, which Nicole doesn't know about because she knew, yeah, she knew them. You know what I mean? So there's a deal between JT's family and Nicole's family. It was kind of like, even exchange magical stuff for the Taylors, the Wolf Pack, protecting, not just Nicole's family, but, the people in that town, period. Okay. So, we have that. And so the other aspect of this book, this romance between JT and Nicole, is that Nicole is very cautious of getting into a relationship with men because her family faces centuries, yeah, I don't know what centuries old, but her family is dealing with a curse, and this curse mainly affects, not mainly, the curse affects the women in the family. Okay, where so what happened was her great grandmother was supposed to marry someone else, and she didn't. She actually fell in love with another man and married him, and hence Nicole, mama, and all of them. You know what I mean? But the man's family that she was supposed to marry were very powerful, magical folk, and they cursed the women in that family where they would never, uh, you know, have a mate, or be in love. Well, not never be in love, but basically have a mate. Or if they did have one, something was gonna happen to them. You know what I mean? One way or another. So, so Nicole's um, is very hesitant to start anything off with JT. And also in this story, we are dealing with murder mystery because, like I said, her grandmother was murdered, and because the police in that town aren't really doing much or nothing to most folks, dissatisfaction. Um, Nicole and her cousins make it their business to also find out, what happened to their grandmother, or who killed their grandmother, basically, like who killed my damn grandmama. You know what I mean? So we have kind of like the focus of two things going on inside of this story. But I highly enjoyed this story. I enjoyed JT and Nicole on page. Their relationship was parts funny, um, very much tension, full of tension, heat. The sex was like ridiculous between them. Um, but we have this thing with Nicole being very cautious of being in a relationship with someone. Like I said, because of this family curse, and we have JT, who is kind of like, I'll just go into this, just for the hookup of it all. But as these stories go, his wolf realized that Nicole is his mate, and not just his wolf, but JT starts to want her too. But Nicole is giving a little bit of a pushback because of this family curse. You know what I mean? Like, I can't be doing all this because it ain't gonna last any other way. So it don't even make no sense. And JT is having a hard time dealing with that. You know what I mean? But he's not necessarily like chasing her throughout the story. What I liked, one of the aspects of their relationship that I liked is that the way Drea Anderson wrote the characters is that she did not make the situation too hard between them. You know what I mean? It's not like JT did not know of this family's curse. Everybody in town pretty much know about the women in Nicole's family, and you know, so he knows. You know what I mean? So he wasn't trying to make it difficult for her if a relationship wasn't something that she wanted. But the more his wolf wanted her, the more he couldn't deny that, yeah, this is my mate, and it was basically like, what the fuck we gonna do up in here? You know what I mean? And Nicole, for much of her resistance of trying not to be with JT, she is starting to like feel like, oh, okay, this is starting to be more than what it is. Like, this isn't this ain't no regular old dude. You know what I mean? Um, it's something more to him, and I don't know what to do. You know what I mean? And for a long time, the women in her family, well, most of the women in her family have been running away from this curse. And the other side of this curse with the women in Nicole's family is that they shift. They're not like free shifting or anything like that. They only shift during a full moon, and they are cougar shifters. And they don't like that aspect of it either. Most of the women in that family don't like the shifting part. They just don't like the curse, period, honey. It's just like, why us? You know what I mean? Not like in kind of like a down kind of a way, but it's really like, what the fuck? You know what I mean? So Nicole's both, all three cousins, their mothers made the decision to leave that town. Nicole's mother left really early. Nicole was like 11 when her mom left, and she hadn't been back since. Her cousins Audrey and Vanessa, they kind of like stayed the longest, but they eventually left too. So when Nicole returns, even though Audrey and Vanessa haven't been there in a long time, they still do know people in that town. They're more comfortable there, whereas Nicole wasn't. She feels like a stranger. She feels like a outsider, and she has a hard time adjusting. You know what I mean? Especially once she starts having these feelings for JT, and then gathering, kind of like gathering information about her grandma as well. You know, it's hard. It's hard for a girl out here. You know what I mean? and it's just like what's going on here. So the romantic part of this story, I like I said, I love that Drea Anderson made kind of like it easy for these two, uh, even though we had this curse, it's kind of like a wall between them. And with JT, because he led kind of like this dangerous lifestyle or whatever, I feel like Nicole kind of like not only used the excuse because the man, he ain't had no easy life. He was doing dangerous shit anyway. He was dealing shit. You know what I mean? So bad shit was gonna happen either way. But I do feel like in this story, Nicole was using his lifestyle as an excuse as well not to be with him, and JT ain't like that. Because there was one part in the book when he was just like, fuck it, I don't even know what else to do no more. Um, he was like, you gonna use that funky ass. I didn't want to laugh, but when he said it, I hollered because I was like, yeah, he mad. You know what I mean? Because there was a part in the book where she had to make the decision of like, we can't do this. You know what I mean? And after JT had made it her, he bit her. So she was really just like, and she didn't really stop him because, like I said, as these two are going inside this book, this attraction is moving along, it's moving strong. You know what I'm saying? They fucking sideways, backwards, upside down, right side up. They're doing it every which way. Okay, so them feelings is growing, baby. You know what I mean? But JT is just like, you making this harder than it needs to be. But also, JT was making it a little bit hard too because like most men, she should know I love her. Like this, how she know if you don't say nothing? How she know? How she know? How will they know? But so it took his mother and his father telling him like, yeah, they are cautious of Nicole because of this curse and stuff like that. But like his mother and father were telling her, like, if you don't make this easy for her, she already doesn't feel secure in most things in life because of this curse and stuff like that. You gonna make it a little bit harder. You ain't even gonna like try to make her look like, even in his mind, he thought he was making her feel safe. Like his parents had to tell her, if you don't tell the girl in words, how she's supposed to know? How she know you gonna make her feel safe if you don't say it, sir? Sometimes you have to say things, speak it out, use your mouth. You know what I mean? So, you know, but even though we had like a little bit of a push and pull between them, it still wasn't hard, and that's what I like. You know what I mean? The other aspect that I loved inside of this book was the family relationships. Enjoyed the family relationships. First of all, Nicole and her cousins. Okay, come on through. All right. So even though these girls have not seen each other in a very long time, I like that they kind of like easily fell back into being close cousins. You know what I mean? Um, and it wasn't because they had to, because of the situation that was going on around them. They just easily fell back into it. Again, with Nicole, it was still kind of like of a harder thing for her because she really hadn't seen anybody since she was like 11. You know what I mean? But I like that the girls kind of like fell right back into it. Even though they all had their little secrets, especially Vanessa and Audrey, especially Audrey. I'm like, girl, what was you really doing where you was at? You know what I mean? Because Nicole was like, why y'all got all these secrets? Why I feel so left out? What the fuck is going on? Especially like in the town, because she didn't know. Nicole really didn't know like all this magic was going on in this town. All these shifters. When she was finding out things, she was like, bitch, the fuck? What? Why ain't nobody tell me? You know what I mean? She really was looking around like that. So it was a lot going on inside of the story, but it was a good lot because I was absorbing it all, child. Ain't go to sleep till like 3 o'clock in the morning. I was at work like, JT big ass. Child, give me a rough man. Give me old big ass black man in some leathers and riding on a motorcycle and just living dangerously. I know, priorities. I know. But I'll take it. I'll take it. I swear to God, I'll take it. Anyway, so so I love the relationship between JT and his family. His mom, his uncles, his aunts. Like, you knew like that town, that Teller Pack was closed, and they was going to do what they got to do to protect one another. So I just loved it. It was a part inside of the book. It's like I loved like the whole blackness of the story that she had going on. There was a part inside of the book, after him and Nicole wasn't speaking. He was in his wolf form in his mama backyard fucking around, killing shit. And his mom, animals, other animals. And his mama was like, if you don't get your ass out my backyard playing around, because she came out of her hands on him, like, why is you in my backyard playing with your food and not holler? Because I was just like, that is something somebody's black ass mama would say. But it was cute. It was cute. I loved it. Um, it was just like a whole lot of things going on inside of this book. Child, now this murder mystery. Okay. I do feel at times like, the solving of the grandmother's murder got a little bit lost. But the main focus of the story is a romance, right? This is a paranormal romance. So we need to be concentrating on where JT and Nicole are going to end up by the end of the story, okay? So I think Drea Anderson did a very good job of keeping focus on that. And also the outside situations, JT and his, because he was living life dangerously, okay, living on the wild side, you know what I mean? So even though we had these outside situations going on, she stayed focused on this romance. I do feel like, we do have this kind of like who killed grandma going on, you know what I mean? So I do feel like we did lose a little bit of that at some points during the story. But child, who did it was not who I thought had done it, okay? Because I was just like, really? For real? So I didn't think, I was just like, whoa. Let me tell you something. That uncle it is, banned. You would have been kicked out. Cause how, sir? How, sir, you gonna keep want to support somebody that did harm to your mama? I was just like, why he still here, child? But the sister, one of the sisters, she was like, oh no. She was like, that bitch gonna suffer. She's gonna suffer. She's gonna suffer. And she was still in the magic. They Aunt Shelby. She was still into her magic. She was powerful. Child, she was not playing. She was spitting on that lady name. She was like, you was gonna suffer. And then honestly, I would spit on my own brother too. Cause how, sir? How? But I wasn't expecting that. I just thought, damn, that's fucked up. But at the end of it all, this is a really good story. I really enjoyed it. Again, like I said, enjoy JT and Nicole on page. I feel like if you are a real good lover of paranormal romances, especially shifter romances, then this is definitely a series that you need to get in on early. This is the first book, and it is really, I think she did a good job with the story of setting us up for the other books, because at the end of this book, you know, Nicole's one little thing, one little spoiler, one little piece of it. Nicole's grandmother comes back and tell her like what I was working on. So what her grandmother was basically doing outside of selling beer and being a little bit dangerous. Grandma was a thug too, okay? She was trying to find a way to work around this curse for her granddaughters, trying to make sure that her granddaughters had happy lives. And I feel like her grandmother thought like, if my granddaughters could be with shifters, instead of humans, maybe they'll be a little bit more happier, have longer relationships with their mates and stuff like that. Because the grandmother intention was to get all three of these girls, probably with her, not without her being dead, but was to get, her intention was to get all these girls back to Georgia so that they can be with their mates. And since her life was cut short, she was telling Nicole that it is literally up to you to help your cousins, Audrey and Vanessa, out. You need to pick up the mantle where I left off. And you need to help your cousins out. You know what I'm saying? You need to get them with who they need to be with, just like how I got you with who you need to be with. And Nicole was like, girl, what? Because even though Nicole, kind of like for her shift aside, she did deal with the magical part. Her, like I said, her grandmother, even though they were like not really like shifters in a sense. They were still technically kind of like human or whatever. Her grandmother was very powerful, and she was teaching her daughters, the ones that wanted to learn, and her granddaughters, magic. And out of the three girls, Nicole was the most powerful, and the grandmother was like, "You're gonna have to, you know, you're gonna have to help your cousins out, basically." So this book really sets up a strong foundation for the other books because I'm really interested in Audrey. I mean, I'm interested in Vanessa and Audrey, but child, Vanessa was giving me sneaky link vibes because I was like, "Girl, what was you doing?" But yeah. So good series. I highly recommend you pick it up. It's great. I loved it, but I love Drea Anderson. The writing inside of the story was amazing. Like I said, even though we lose a little bit of focus on the grandma's murder, I do think her intention for the story was the romance, and she did a very good job of keeping focus on that. The writing was smooth. It was easy. There was no bumpy rides. She did what she needed to do. The story gave what it was supposed to give, and I'm I loved it. I was here for it. So check it out. Um, a recommendation, another recommendation. Um, uh, if you read this book, if you want to get familiar with her writing, and you know are a fan of novellas, check out her Hamilton Brothers series, which is kind of like a grumpy sunshine type of thing going on, but it's brothers. You love it. I love that series. This is how I found her writing. This is how I found her books, and I'm a fan. Okay, so yeah, that's all I'm gonna say. Just read the damn book, cause child, you're gonna be like, what? I am what? But yeah, this was a good series. So I highly recommend y'all go and get it right now. Right now. So the next book the next book that we are going to move on to, my friends, is Just for Tonight by Miss Realsie Adams, another author that is becoming a fave. And this is Just for Tonight, child. Look. Let me tip this right so y'all can see it. Hold on. Look at this cover. Child, when she shared this cover, I was just like, don't worry, I'm gonna put it on screen. Child, whoever this man is, whatever island you on, mama is gonna find you soon, okay? But anyway, so this is a short book, and this is more of a novelette, super short, super hot, super sexy. Loved it. So, and this is pretty much not kind of like this is more like a hookup story, okay? So we have Giselle and Roman, who are on an island at their friend's wedding. Their friends are about to get married. Their prospective friends, her friend and his friend, are about to marry each other. And Roman and Giselle are there for support, okay? But when these two first meet each other, there's very much a sexual attraction going on between them, and it's heated, honey. It's hot. It it's some shit going on up in this club, okay? So when we go inside of the story, we have these four about to go out to dinner for the night, and Giselle is getting dressed, and her friend coming in like, "Girl, who you getting dressed for? Why you getting dressed for? What you trying to do up in these streets or whatever?" And Giselle is trying to like play it off, because Giselle has not been in a relationship willingly. She has not been in a relationship for 3 years, and she ain't really trying to be up in one. Her friend made a pact 3 years ago not to, to take a break from relationships, but Danny met Trevor, and now these two are getting married, and Giselle's like, "Bitch, you left me in the cold, cold air. Why?" But I still love you anyway. So, she ain't really trying to be with nobody, but she'll let Roman hit it for free. For real, for real. And on the other side of that, we have Roman, who ain't in that situation. You know what I mean? He there's a mutual attraction between them. And he's just like, "Girl, I ain't on no hiatus. I'll do it." But Roman's thing is, if the situation does not work out, he is not trying to, make an awkward kind of a thing between them and their friends. So he's kind of like backing off, as much as he can. But every time he sees Giselle, remember they on an island and she wearing bikinis and all that other stuff, and you're just like, "Ooh, girl, you're making it hard. You're making it real, real hard." Okay, but so when we go inside of these stories, these two are going. Like I said, these four are going out for dinner that night, and Giselle is kind of like, she pretty much, because Danny is like, girl, you are just like that. Who you trying to get? Because there's only one other penis here. So which one is it? Because it can't be my man. So you doing this for Roman? You doing this for Roman? And Giselle's kind of like play it off, but she couldn't admit it that there's something going on between her and Roman, and she pretty much had made the decision that she was going, say fuck it, dust the cobwebs off the punani, and see where it goes from there. Okay. But as they go into dinner, there's a lot of drinking, some drinking. There's some teasing going on, and Danny kind of like puts it out in the air, like, so what y'all gonna do? I feel all this tension going back and forth, like who gonna be doing what or whatever. And because Danny did that, they kind of like laugh it off, go on with the night or whatever. But because Danny kind of got like did that, Giselle is like, oh, embarrassing ass heifer out here embarrassing me. Like, why she do that or whatever. But, and this kind of like throws her off from, taking a chance to possibly even have a one night stand with Roman. But Roman, not so much, honey. Roman is just like, I don't, we can do it. You know what I mean? Like, come on, girl. And, it starts from there. Once they return from dinner, Giselle is kind of like, I'm just going to go to bed, child. I'm just going to have some cupcakes and go to bed. But Roman's like, nah, come join me out by the beach. You know what I'm saying? Let's go sit by the beach. Let's go have a good night. And stuff like that. And she's just like, first she was just going to be like, nah, but then she was just like, okay. And this leads to their hookup for the night. And child, that was a hot, sexy ass hookup. Okay, I was just like, When he told her fingers, tongue, I was just like, child, you better. Two in the panani, one in the booty hole, and the tongue on the panani too. Come on, Roman, come on, girl, you better throw that motherfucking you better throw them up. You better throw that bikini in the ocean. Throw it in the ocean and get naked right now. Okay. So, but it was a sexy hookup. This is a really cute short. Like I said, hot, sexy, whatever. This is a hookup, like I said, and the story ends from there. I am very excited to see more of Roman and Giselle, and I hope Realsie gives us more. Writing was smooth. It was, listen, this was another story that gave what it was supposed to give. I was here for it. I was a little hot in the meanwhile, okay? This is a good ass book. So, get it, okay? If you love erotic shorts, then this one is for you, okay? All right. So, yes, I enjoyed both books. Um, both books are available on Kindle. And I do believe they're both available in the KU program. Oh, and if you want a good start to Realsie Adams books, or a good recommendation to Realsie's books, if you have not read her before, then I highly recommend Treble. Just go read it, cause anyway. So, cause yeah. But yes, both books are available on Amazon. I think they both are available in Kindle Unlimited program. Just check, saying if you're not, support your black authors and go buy the books. Because that's what good readers do. Okay. Okay. So, again, happy almost New Year. I will see y'all in 2022. And until the next one, later days. Bye. And why can't I find my stop button?